Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Monday, the 15th of June 2020. So, roller coaster session on Friday fails to dent the retail euphoria. And what they mean about this is that all of the retailers have jumped into Hertz, which had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which we've spoken of before. And it's incredible. The courts have approved to sell worthless stock in the world's first initial bankruptcy offering. And as it says here, I mean, this sums it up really. We have officially entered the absolute idiocy phase thanks to Fed Chair Powell, who now owns this epic mess. He certainly does. And a few more headlines with regards to the Fed as well on Friday. The Fed owns this bubble, a frail bubble, it's certainly frail. Doug Nolan blasts this disastrous mania. This week likely marked the beginning of a painful second leg of bear market, or at minimum, the return of wild volatility. Well, I don't mind the volatility. That's brilliant for traders who scalp and also take short-term trades. The bill is coming due. Market faces epic battle of control in weeks ahead. Somewhere in between these narratives is a truth, and that's a truth markets have to negotiate, and they certainly do. And with, of course, coronavirus cases increasing again in the US, then we're likely to see a lot more volatility, because the so-called V-shaped recovery, which we've spoken of in the alert as well, isn't going to materialize. So let's head into the charts and have a look at Friday. You can see the market started to move higher, traded above the 20-bar moving average in the daily chart, but then failed to hold, and also failed to hold at the 62% retracement now as well. So it looks like the downside's got this one sorted at the moment, so the weakness is still prevailing, and we're looking at this level first, this 62% on the downside, which is going to be 24,625. You can see price is weak on the overnight here. So let's go into more detail, have a look at Friday's session. In the pre-market session, you can see again the market moving to the upside, doing its best. But as soon as the market opened, prices rallied, they pulled back, and then they failed. And if we just have a look at this in a bit more detail, I'm going to compress the chart here in the prices. You will see prices from this low here to this high. I'll just draw this in from this low to this high. You'll see prices coming back 62% of the move and then moving higher. However, as soon as they start to do this, so from this high to this low, has the market got the strength to move back to the upside? Well, that's easy to work out, because from this high to this low, you'll see the market stop at the selection of fibs 62, 78 and 89. Price bars then turn red as prices head towards the DP level. They go straight through the DP level, they're driven through, and you can see prices sitting on the 200 MA, and then prices moving lower where they double bottom before they start to move back to the upside. I'm going to remove these and move the chart across. So from this high down to this low, you'll see the market then return to 62% before then second leg down, before we get into the evening session, where we get the usual thing where we bring the market back. This is the Fed's hand in trying to bring prices back. However, overnight the Dow has gapped lower, the weakness still prevailing, and you can see now that prices are not holding. And this is the pre-market session where we're seeing the market move in the last hour down 256 points already. So the weakness is here. It's what can the market do now, or the Fed do, to bring this market back. Let's have a look at the German Dax, see where this is trading this morning. We'll start off with the daily chart again as well, and you can see this too is heading towards the 62% retracement already, and a break below this is below the 20-bar moving average, takes us to the 78 and 89. Certainly weakness around this morning on the short side, and again you can see this in the 2-minute chart as prices have moved lower. The only concern here is that the spread betting companies will start to widen the spreads, which will be an absolute pain in the proverbial if they do this. So let's hope that the volatility remains moderate, as it were, and the spreads don't get widened. And let's go back to the session on Friday in the Dax. And we started off with a major move of 176 points to the upside as prices found resistance at the DP level. Prices then started to move back from this low to this high. And again, you'll see 62%. You'll see the buying coming into the market. And inside of this, and we've got a 200 bar moving average there. But you'll also see inside of this, you've got an up and a down at the 200 MA as well. And the subtle retracements here also are great places for the next leg to the upside. And this is exactly what we see. Plus we get the signal as well. So two lovely trades on Friday. And as I say, the volatility is starting to warm up quite nicely. We don't want to get too volatile because of slippage and so on and so forth. Prices come back during the mid-morning, and then we started the afternoon session. And let me just widen this out a bit. Okay, so in the afternoon session, we started off with a trade to the downside, and this actually traded to the scalp in the actual live session, but having re-imported the data, for some unknown reason, it's showing black, but it wasn't. It actually traded down to the scalp and the 200 MA, and there's a warning as well that there could be some buying, which we see there as prices hit that 200 MA. So your worst case scenario here is to take a small loss or break even. Prices then move lower, and then we attempted to move to the upside, which also ran out of steam at the scalp level, which I'll just show you there. Went straight to the scalp level, and then failed to drive through, and that's what we're looking for. And then we had the short trade, which I traded down to this point, and I'll go into more detail in a moment in another video. So yeah, it was a really good day on Friday. Lots of profits initially in the morning session, and then in the afternoon it was a bit choppy to begin with, but eventually, as everything is starting to move back to the downside, as we can see here, then the short side became the dominant side. And in the bigger time frame of a 15-minute, you can see that we're already on the slide this morning. Okay, so we can see we've got the signals in the afternoon session. We had the short, we had the long. The long I took a bit of a hit on, a few points loss as the market started to come back. We had the sell signal, and I wanted to see if it would bounce off the 200 MA as it had done previously, to see if I could get a better fill. And you'll see this now as I go forward. You'll see the trade being put on, and I'm trying to reduce the size of, or cover the cost of the spread, and also, there you go, you can see now, so it's gone short. So I bought in a bit higher than the entry price there, or sold, depending on whether you're trading futures or spread betting. But yeah, if you've got a situation like this where there's some sort of support, take the bounce and then sell into the bounce, and then reduce the potential loss. So what I'm looking for now is the market to break this 200 bar moving average and support areas. I can see there's green in the red there, so I know there's been some buying, and I want the market to take this out. So let's see what happens. Prices trade sideways and then start to move lower. And as prices start to drive through the 200 MA, I'm looking for them to drive through the scalp. And the reason for this is, unlike here where there wasn't enough momentum to keep moving to the upside, if you get the momentum through the scalp, and the scalp isn't necessarily a profit target unless there's no momentum, but if it drives through, then I call it the first profit target, and then I can start moving to break even and then managing the trade. So there you'll see prices have gone through, And as they're starting to drive through, what I'm going to do is to move the stop to break even, which you see on the left here. You can see that now, so covered, and you can see prices have driven through the first profit target scalp. So now what I'm going to do is to just manage the trade and see the support here at this big round number, which you are going to get, but we have taken out these two areas of support and the 200 bar moving average. So prices then move lower. I've got to take out the DP level in order to move lower. And at this level, I can expect some sort of support coming into the market. And what I'm doing at this point is watching the volume, not so much the price bars, because as the volume starts to build, and it becomes greater than the previous bars range, which you can see there now. So the range from this high to this low is certainly less than the high to low of this bar, but the volume is greater. So I know that there's some profit taking coming into the market, or an absorption of the sell orders. But I'm leaving the stop at break even at the moment, and then let's see if the market can move lower. And this big round number, this BRN, becomes a resistance. So as prices attempt to move higher, they fail and then move back to the downside. They come back through and then start to trade in a sideways move, and this is incredibly frustrating when this happens. You can see the range there, and then we're going to get another spike back to the upside as well. And at this point I thought I was going to be taken out of the trade at break even, but then prices reversed, and this is classic of trying to move the market back against. You'll see this with the DAX and a few other markets at the moment. As the volatility increases, they will try and spike the market back before moving in the direction they want to go. There's a major battle at the moment of trying to keep the markets moving to the upside. So prices sit around this level. I mean, fortunately for me, in this 1 minute chart in the DAX, I can see that we've got a bit of comfort there with the 200 bar moving average. So now I'm going to fast forward all the way through as the market reverses and then takes out the DP level, which is what I want to see, and then prices move lower. The next profit target is the BRN, but before we look at that, again, notice that the volume in this bar is greater than the previous bar and the range is narrower. Now this means that if the volume is greater, it means that there is an absorption of the sell orders, or the shorts are getting out and buying back. But just these are subtle things that you notice in charts, and once you understand this, allow you to fine tune the profit objectives and targets. The market's still below the 5 bar moving average, the purple line there as well, so nothing to worry about at the moment, and the DP level becomes a resistance as prices attempt to move back. And again, you can see there the 5 bar moving average, prices are starting to come back. They don't close above, they continue to the downside, and again you'll see in a moment prices moving lower there. The volume's starting to build. There's a cluster here as well, so you can see there's a battle going on to try and bring prices back, and eventually this starts to move lower once more. And again, the range of this price bar is far less than the previous bar, and the volume again is as high, so I know that there is some absorption of the sell orders coming into the market. And then as prices start to move back and start to close above the 5 bar moving average, I decide it's time to get out of this trade. You can see there prices come back and they close above the 5 bar moving average. So there you go. It's a quick overview of sticking with an incredibly frustrating trade on Friday, but turned out well in the end. Two great trades in the morning as well. A bit of a sticky patch in the first part of the afternoon, but eventually the market broke, and again picking up the profit on the first trade. Not a lot, only a couple of points on that. Second one took a hit because I was hoping that the market would continue to move back to the upside, but then we got the sell signal and then managed the trade to the downside as prices broke. If they're not going up, they're going to be sideways to lower. Okay, that's it for this one today. As ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.